First contact and the distress call. Commander Elena Reyes stood on the observation deck of the ESS Pathfinder, gazing out at the endless sea of stars. The Pathfinder was humanity's most advanced deep space vessel, a testament to Earth's determination to explore beyond their solar system. As the ship's commanding officer, Elena felt the weight of their mission: to seek out potential habitable worlds and establish contact with any intelligent life they might encounter. Commander, the calm voice of Lieutenant Kaido Nakamura broke the silence. We're detecting an unusual energy signature at the edge of our scanning range. Elena turned from the viewport, her dark eyes focused. What kind of signature, Lieutenant? It's unlike anything in our database, Kaido replied, his fingers dancing across the holographic display. It appears to be some sort of beacon or distress signal, but the frequency and modulation are completely foreign to our systems. How far? Elena asked, already moving toward the bridge. Approximately 19 light hours from our current position. We could reach it in 3 days at standard velocity, less if we push the engines. Elena nodded, a decision already forming in her mind. Humanity had spent decades searching for signs of intelligent life. This could be their first real contact. Alert the senior staff, set course for the signal's origin, and prepare the first contact protocols. I want every system at full readiness. Within hours, the Pathfinder changed course, its powerful engines propelling the ship through the void. Elena spent the travel time reviewing everything they knew about the signal, which wasn't much. The science team had managed to determine that the signal repeated in a perfect mathematical sequence, clearly artificial and clearly designed to be recognized as intelligent. On the third day, as they approached the coordinates, the ship's sensors detected debris, a vast field of it, spreading across thousands of kilometers of space. Slow to maneuvering speed, Elena ordered, her voice tight. Full sensor sweep. The main view screen displayed a graveyard of twisted metal and crystalline structures. What once might have been a magnificent vessel, or perhaps several vessels, now drifted in silent pieces. Life signs? Elena asked, although she expected none. Chief Science Officer Dr. Ivana Petrov looked up from her station, surprise evident on her face. Yes, Commander. Faint, but present. I'm detecting approximately 47 distinct biological signatures clustered in what appears to be an intact section of one of the vessels. Elena straightened in her chair. Can we establish communication? Communications Officer Marcus Chen shook his head. Not through conventional channels. Their systems appear to be severely damaged. Then we go to them. Elena decided. Prepare a boarding team. Full environmental suits. We don't know what conditions we'll find. Within the hour, Elena led a team of 12 across the void between the Pathfinder and the alien wreckage. The intact section was larger than she had expected, roughly the size of a small destroyer. As they approached, they could see that the hull was made of a material that seemed to shift colors, like oil on water. Remarkable, breathed Dr. Petrov through the comm system. The hull appears to be some form of programmable matter. I've never seen anything like it. They found an entry point, what looked like an airlock, and after some trial and error, managed to gain access. The interior was dimly lit by emergency lights that pulsed with a soft blue glow. The atmosphere was thin but breathable according to their sensors. Keep your helmets on, Elena ordered. We don't know what pathogens might be present. They moved through curved corridors that seemed designed for beings larger than humans. The gravity was lighter than Earth standard, making their movements slightly buoyant. Finally, they reached what appeared to be a central chamber. Inside, they found the survivors. The aliens were tall, easily 7 feet in height, with slender bodies covered in a fine, iridescent fur that shimmered even in the dim light. Their faces were elongated, with large, pupilless eyes that reflected like mirrors. When they saw the humans enter, several moved protectively in front of the others, raising long-fingered hands in what might have been a defensive posture. Elena stepped forward slowly, hands raised in the universal gesture of peace. We come as friends, she said, knowing they wouldn't understand her words, but hoping her tone would convey her intentions. One of the aliens, adorned with silvery markings across its chest, approached cautiously. It carried a small device which it activated, producing a field of shimmering light between them. The light coalesced into complex patterns that shifted and changed. After a moment, the patterns began to repeat. "It's trying to communicate," Dr. Petrov whispered. I think it's establishing a baseline for translation." The alien continued to manipulate the device, and gradually the light patterns began to form into recognizable shapes. Simple mathematical equations at first, then increasingly complex symbols. "Our AI is processing the information," Marcus reported. "It's creating a rudimentary translation matrix." After 20 tense minutes, the alien spoke, and to Elena's astonishment, their suit's communication systems converted the sounds into rough but understandable English. "You respond to our call for help. We thank you. I am Varen, first scholar of the Visari Collective." Elena stepped forward. "I am Commander Elena Reyes of the Earth ship Pathfinder. We detected your distress signal and came to offer assistance." Varen's large eyes blinked slowly. "Earth, not known to us. You are new travelers to the stars." "Yes," Elena confirmed. "We've only recently developed the technology for deep space exploration." "Fortunate and unfortunate timing," Varen replied, gestures becoming more fluid as the translation improved. "You have entered the galaxy during dangerous times. What happened here?" Elena asked, gesturing to the devastation outside. Varen's shoulders slumped in what could only be interpreted as profound sadness. "The Draken Dominion, a species that sees the galaxy as theirs by right. They demanded our world, our resources. When we refused, they attacked without warning." "This was your homeworld's defense fleet?" Elena asked, horrified at the scale of destruction. "No," Varen replied. "This was our diplomatic vessel. We were attempting to negotiate peace when they opened fire. Our homeworld." The alien made a gesture that needed no translation. "Gone." Elena felt a cold anger building inside her. "How many survivors from your world?" "We 49 are all that remain of a civilization of billions," Varen said simply. The human team exchanged shocked glances. An entire civilization wiped out in what appeared to be an act of casual genocide. "We'll take you aboard our ship," Elena said firmly. "We can provide medical care, food, shelter." An alarm suddenly blared from the alien vessel's systems. Varen rushed to a console, manipulating controls with quick, precise movements. "Draken scout ship approaching," the alien announced, fear evident in its voice despite the mechanical translation. "They must have detected your vessel." Lieutenant Commander Jackson, the security chief, was already checking his tactical display. "Commander, they're coming in fast. Energy readings suggest weapons are powered and ready." Elena made a quick decision. "We need to get these survivors to the Pathfinder immediately. Jackson, coordinate the evacuation. Marcus, contact the ship and have them prepare for emergency departure." As the team began helping the Visari toward the airlock, Varen approached Elena. "You should leave us," the alien said quietly. "The Draken will show no mercy to those who aid their enemies." Elena shook her head firmly. "That's not how humans operate. We don't abandon those in need." Varen studied her for a long moment. "Your species, what classification?" Elena frowned, not understanding. "Classification. Your homeworld. What type?" "Garden world. Temperate. Earth." Elena considered. "We have various ecosystems: deserts, Arctic regions, jungles, oceans, gravity, atmospheric pressure, predator species." Varen pressed. "Higher than here," Elena replied, puzzled by the questions. "We evolved alongside numerous predator species, yes." Varen made a sound that the translator didn't catch. "You're Deathworlders," the alien said with something like awe. "Rare, dangerous. The Draken, They are also from a death world. Until now, they believed themselves unique in the galaxy. Before Elena could ask what that meant, Jackson called out, "Commander, we need to move now." They rushed through the corridors, helping the injured Visari. As they reached their entry point, the alien vessel shuddered violently. "They're firing on us," Jackson reported grimly. The evacuation became chaotic as they hurried the aliens across the void to the Pathfinder. Elena was the last aboard, diving through the airlock as another blast rocked the derelict vessel. "All hands on deck," Elena shouted as she raced to the bridge, shedding her environmental suit as she ran. "Tactical, lock weapons on that scout ship. Helm, prepare for emergency departure." The view screen showed a sleek, predatory-looking vessel approaching. It was smaller than the Pathfinder, but bristling with what were clearly weapon systems. "They're hailing us," Marcus announced. On screen, Elena ordered, straightening her uniform. The image that appeared made several bridge officers flinch. The Draken were reptilian in appearance, with armored scales covering muscular bodies. The one in the center had prominent ridges along its skull and piercing yellow eyes with vertical pupils. "Unknown vessel," the Draken commander hissed, the words translated by their systems. "You interfere in matters beyond your understanding. Surrender the Visari fugitives immediately or be destroyed." Elena stepped forward, her expression cold and controlled. "This is Commander Elena Reyes of the Earth ship Pathfinder. The Visari survivors are under our protection. We witnessed the aftermath of your attack on their vessel, an unprovoked massacre of a diplomatic mission. Such actions constitute war crimes by any civilized standard." The Draken's eyes narrowed. "Your species is unknown to us. Identify your homeworld classification and allegiance." Elena remembered Varen's questions. "We are from Earth, a world you would classify as a death world. We stand as an independent species, allied with none and hostile only to those who threaten us or innocent lives." The revelation seemed to give the Draken commander pause. Its head tilted in what might have been surprise or reassessment. "Deathworlders," it finally said. "Impossible. Your vessel is too small, your weapons too primitive. Would you care to test that assumption?" Elena replied evenly. "We came in peace, but we are fully capable of defending ourselves." The Draken commander bared teeth in what might have been amusement or threat. "You have made an enemy this day, human. The Dominion will remember." The communication cut off abruptly. "They're powering weapons," the tactical officer called out. "Evasive maneuvers," Elena ordered. "Return fire, aim for their propulsion systems. I want to disable, not destroy." The Pathfinder lurched as it fired its main weapons while simultaneously veering away from the Draken vessel's attack. The alien ship was fast and agile, but the Pathfinder's defensive systems were state-of-the-art. After a brief but intense exchange, the Pathfinder scored a direct hit on the Draken's engine section. The alien vessel spun away, trailing debris and venting atmosphere. "They're retreating," the tactical officer reported with visible relief. "Let them go," Elena said grimly. "Plot a course for Earth, maximum sustainable speed. We need to warn our people about what's out here." As the Pathfinder accelerated away from the battlefield, Elena went to check on their new passengers. She found Varen in the medical bay, watching as human doctors tended to injured Visari. "Your people are kind," Varen observed as Elena approached. "The Draken would have left us to die." "We have our moments of darkness," Elena admitted. "But overall, humanity tries to be better than its worst instincts." "You confronted a Draken warship," Varen said. "Few species would dare such a thing, even to save others." Elena shrugged. "It was the right thing to do." "The Draken will not forget," Varen warned. "They will come for you, for your world." "Then we'll be ready," Elena replied, her jaw set with determination. Humanity has faced existential threats before: disease, climate change, our own violent tendencies. We've always found a way to survive. Varen studied her with those reflective eyes. "Perhaps Perhaps that is why Deathworlders are so rare in this galaxy. Those who survive such worlds are formidable indeed. Elena looked out the viewport at the stars streaking by. We're taking you to Earth. Our leaders will want to hear your story. Learn everything you can tell us about the Draken and the wider galaxy. And what will Earth do with this knowledge? Varen asked. Elena considered the question carefully. Prepare, adapt, and ensure that what happened to your people never happens to another civilization if we can prevent it. As the Pathfinder raced toward Earth, a message from the damaged Draken scout ship propagated through subspace, spreading to distant outposts, and eventually to the heart of the Dominion itself. A new Deathworld species had emerged, one that dared to challenge Draken supremacy. Across the galaxy, the call to arms began. The awakening of Earth's Armada. The return journey to Earth took 17 days. 17 days during which Commander Elena Reyes hardly slept. She spent her time between coordinating care for the Visari refugees and extracting every piece of information they could provide about the Draken Dominion. The picture that emerged was grim. The Draken had conquered 12 systems in the past 30 Earth years, systematically eliminating any species that resisted. Their technological advantage wasn't insurmountable, but their aggressive expansion was fueled by a biological imperative. Their homeworld was dying, resources depleted by centuries of industrial development without regard for sustainability. They see it as their right to take what they need, Varen explained during one of their many strategy sessions. In their culture, strength determines who deserves to survive. They believe their evolution on a death world makes them superior to softer species. But Earth is a death world too, Lieutenant Cato pointed out. By their own logic, we have equal right to exist. That is precisely what they fear, Varen replied. A competitor. Another apex predator in their territory. When the Pathfinder finally reached Earth orbit, Elena wasn't surprised to find a welcoming committee waiting. News of their discovery had been transmitted ahead, and Earth's unified government, the Global Coalition, had assembled its highest officials to meet the alien refugees and hear firsthand about the threat they brought news of. The landing bay at New Geneva Space Center was crowded with dignitaries, scientists, and military personnel when Elena led Varen and 5 other Visari representatives down the Pathfinder's ramp. Despite their weakened condition, the aliens carried themselves with dignity, their iridescent fur shimmering under Earth's lighting. President Sophia Chen stepped forward, her expression solemn. On behalf of humanity, I welcome you to Earth. I only wish your arrival came under happier circumstances. Varen bowed, a gesture the Visari had adopted after observing the human crew. We thank you for your world's kindness, President Chen. The debt we owe Commander Reyes and her crew cannot be measured. The formalities were brief. Within hours, an emergency session of the Global Coalition Council convened. Elena stood before the assembled representatives of Earth's nations, recounting their encounter with the Draken and presenting all they had learned about the threat. The Draken scout ship sent a transmission before retreating, she concluded. According to Varen, it was almost certainly a call to their fleet. We don't know how long we have before they arrive, but they will come. Admiral Zhao, head of Earth's modest space defense force, rose to speak. With all due respect, Commander, we're talking about a single encounter with an alien vessel. Is it possible you've overestimated the threat? Perhaps this was an isolated incident. Elena shook her head firmly. The Visari have provided extensive intelligence on Draken capabilities and tactics. Their entire civilization was destroyed because they refused to surrender their resources. Earth is resource-rich, and now we've directly challenged their authority by intervening and demonstrating that we're technologically capable. We've painted a target on ourselves. And what would you have us do? Asked the representative from the African Union. Our space fleet consists of barely 30 vessels, most designed for exploration rather than combat. We adapt, Elena said simply. It's what humans do best. She activated a holographic display showing schematics the Visari had provided. The Draken have superior numbers and experience, but their technology isn't fundamentally beyond our understanding. In fact, in some areas, we have advantages they don't expect. Dr. Petrov stepped forward. The Vizari have shared their scientific knowledge with us. Their understanding of quantum communications and energy management surpasses our own, but our weapon systems and propulsion technology are surprisingly competitive. With their help, we can upgrade our existing vessels quickly. And we have another advantage, Alina added. The Draken don't know much about us. They come from a death world like Earth, but our specific evolutionary path has given us strengths they won't anticipate. Such as, President Chen asked. Endurance, Alina replied. Humans evolved as persistence hunters. We can maintain activity longer than almost any species on our planet. The Draken are ambush predators, evolved for explosive speed and strength, but they tire quickly. Their ships reflect this philosophy. Overwhelming first strikes, but limited sustained combat capability. After hours of debate, the decision was made. Earth would prepare for war while simultaneously attempting diplomatic contact. Every shipyard on the planet and in orbit was mobilized. Retired vessels were recommissioned, civilian ships were retrofitted with weapon systems, and entirely new designs were fast-tracked for production. The Vizari, grateful for Earth's sanctuary, shared everything they knew about Draken weaknesses. Most critically, they provided designs for shield technology that could withstand the initial barrage of a Draken attack, buying precious time for a human counteroffensive. 3 months passed in frantic preparation. Alina was promoted to admiral and given command of Earth's primary defense fleet, now numbering over 100 vessels of various sizes and capabilities. The largest, a newly constructed dreadnought christened the Defiance, incorporated the best of human and Vizari technology. They're coming, Marcus announced one morning, his voice tense as he monitored the deep space array. Multiple subspace disruptions at the edge of our system. Configurations match Draken signatures. Elena straightened in her command chair aboard the Defiance. How many? 47 vessels. A full battle group. She had expected no less. Alert all ships. Battle positions as planned. And get me a channel to their flagship. The Draken fleet emerged from subspace in perfect formation, an arrowhead of destruction aimed directly at Earth. Their vessels were larger than the scout ship they had encountered, bristling with weapons and protected by energy fields that distorted the space around them. The face that appeared on the communication screen was similar to the commander they had met before, but this Draken was older, with deeper ridges and scars across its scaled face. I am High Commander Vexkar of the Draken Dominion, it announced without preamble. Your species has interfered in Dominion affairs and harbors enemies of our people. Surrender your world and the Vizari criminals immediately, or face extinction. Elena met the alien's gaze without flinching. This is Admiral Elena Reyes of the United Earth Defense Force. We've reviewed your demands and find them unacceptable. The Vizari are under our protection, and Earth belongs to humanity. We have no quarrel with the Draken people, but we will defend ourselves if attacked. Vexkar's eyes narrowed. You speak boldly for a species about to be erased from existence. Before you try, Elena replied calmly, I suggest you study our history. Humans don't surrender easily, and we've faced extinction before. We're still here. She cut the transmission before the Draken could respond. All ships prepare for their first wave. Remember the simulations. Their initial attack will be overwhelming but brief. Weather the storm, then counter when they regroup. The Draken didn't waste time on further diplomacy. Their fleet surged forward, energy weapons charging to full capacity. Defensive pattern Alpha, Elena ordered. Shield harmonics as programmed. The human fleet spread out, seemingly exposing Earth to attack. But it was a calculated risk. The Vizari-enhanced shields on each vessel had been carefully calibrated to the specific frequencies of Draken weapons, significantly reducing their effectiveness. When the first barrage came, it was spectacular and terrifying. Space itself seemed to warp with the energy being unleashed. Ships on both sides took damage, but the human fleet remained intact, a scenario the Draken had clearly not anticipated. "They're regrouping," Tactical Officer Raman reported. "Exactly as predicted. Their energy signatures show they're having to recharge main weapons." "Now," Elena commanded, "all ships, execute Pattern Omega." What had appeared to be a scattered defensive formation suddenly revealed its true purpose. The human vessels moved with coordinated precision, encircling smaller groups of Draken ships. Rather than concentrating fire on the largest threats, they systematically targeted propulsion and weapon systems on vessel after vessel. "They're trying to break the formation," Raman reported. "Their commanders are showing signs of confusion." The Draken, used to overwhelming enemies quickly, had never developed tactics for a prolonged engagement against a technologically comparable foe. Their strategy relied on shock and awe, a strategy that was now failing. "Launch missiles, second wave," Elena ordered. "Target their command and control systems." The Defiance shuddered as a Draken cruiser scored a direct hit on its port side. Emergency systems engaged immediately, sealing breached sections and rerouting power. "Damage report," Elena demanded, gripping her chair as the ship stabilized. "Decks 7 through 9 reporting casualties. Shield generators at 60%. Weapons still operational." Elena nodded grimly. "Continue the attack. Focus on their flagship." The battle raged for hours, and eternity in space combat terms. Both fleets took heavy losses, but the human vessels demonstrated a resilience that clearly frustrated the Draken commanders. When damage was sustained, crews made rapid repairs, rerouted systems, and kept fighting long after their ships should have been crippled. "Admiral," Marcus called out, "I'm detecting unusual energy fluctuations from 3 Draken vessels. They appear to be overloading their core systems." Elena's eyes widened in alarm. "They're going to self-destruct. Target those ships now. Maximum firepower." The Defiance and 2 supporting cruisers concentrated their attacks on the threatened Draken vessels. 2 were destroyed before they could detonate, but the third exploded with catastrophic force, taking 2 human ships with it. "They're getting desperate," Elena realized. "That's not a tactical retreat. It's a kamikaze attack." Varen, who had insisted on joining the bridge crew as an advisor, spoke up. "This is unprecedented. The Draken value their lives highly. Self-sacrifice is not part of their culture, which means they fear defeat more than death." Elena concluded. "All ships be aware of potential suicide tactics. Maintain distance from damaged Draken vessels." The tide of battle was turning. The human fleet, though bloodied, maintained its cohesion and tactical flexibility. The Draken, their initial strategy thwarted, resorted to increasingly desperate measures. "Their flagship is retreating," Raman announced suddenly. "They're calling their surviving vessels to follow." Elena leaned forward. "Do not pursue beyond the system boundary. Let them go." "Admiral," Raman questioned, "we could press the advantage." "No," Elena said firmly. "We've shown them we can defend our home. That's enough for today." As the Draken fleet limped away, a cheer went up across the bridge. Elena allowed herself a small smile, but knew this was only the beginning. 3 days later, as the human fleet conducted repairs and mourned their losses, an unexpected transmission was received. High Commander Vexkar requested a direct communication with Admiral Reyes. The Draken leader's appearance had changed. New scars marked its face, and one eye was clouded, likely damaged in the battle. "Admiral Reyes," Vexkar began, its voice carrying a note Elena hadn't heard before. "The Dominion acknowledges your species' right to exist." Elena kept her expression neutral. "That's a start. Our historians have no record of another Deathworld species developing space travel." Vexkar continued. "Your tactics were unexpected." "As were yours," Elena replied. "Self-sacrifice is not a strategy we anticipated from your forces." The Draken commander's good eye narrowed slightly. "Desperate times demand desperate measures. Our homeworld cannot sustain us much longer. We need new territories, new resources. Taking them by force is not your only option, Elena said carefully. Earth has faced similar challenges in our history. We nearly destroy our own world before learning to manage resources sustainably. Sustainability is weakness, Vexcar countered, but without the conviction Elena might have expected. Is it? She asked. Your current path has led your people to fight wars across the galaxy, losing ships and lives for scraps of resources. Meanwhile, species you dismiss as weak have developed technologies to extend the lifespan of their worlds by millennia. That doesn't sound like strength to me. The Draken was silent for a long moment. What do you propose? A ceasefire, Elena replied, followed by negotiations. Earth and its allies, including the surviving Visari, will share knowledge of sustainable resource management in exchange for the Draken ending their expansion campaign. And if we refuse? Elena's expression hardened. Then the next time we meet in battle, we won't let you retreat. After the communication ended, President Chan approached Elena on the bridge. Do you think they'll accept? Elena gazed at the stars visible through the viewport. I don't know, but we've given them something to think about. They've never encountered another species that could match them before. It's shaken their worldview. And if they choose war, the president pressed. Then we'll be ready, Elena replied with quiet confidence. Today we fought with a hastily assembled fleet. Imagine what humanity can build with proper time and motivation. In the months that followed, Earth continued to prepare for all possibilities. The shipyards never ceased production, and research into new technologies accelerated. The remaining Visari were granted citizenship and integrated into society, their knowledge and skills proving invaluable. Other alien species, hearing of humanity's stand against the Draken, established cautious diplomatic relations. Many had suffered under Draken expansion and saw Earth as a potential protector. 6 months after the battle, a Draken diplomatic vessel entered Earth orbit. It carried not threats, but a proposal, a limited alliance between their species, combining Draken strength with human innovation to solve the resource crisis that had driven their conquest. As Elena sat across from a Draken diplomat, an unprecedented concession from their hierarchical society, she reflected on how a single distress signal had changed the course of human history. They had ventured into space seeking knowledge and discovery, only to find themselves thrust into the role of defenders. It wasn't the future she had imagined, but perhaps it was the one humanity had been preparing for all along. Earth's harsh conditions had forged a species uniquely equipped to survive in a dangerous galaxy. Adaptable, resilient, and innovative. Your proposal is interesting, the Draken diplomat said, interrupting her thoughts. But many in our leadership question whether two predator species can truly cooperate without eventual conflict. Elena smiled slightly. On Earth, we have a saying, "The enemy of my enemy is my friend." There are greater challenges in this galaxy than our differences. Resources are finite, but ingenuity isn't. Together, we might accomplish what neither of us could alone. As negotiations proceeded, Earth's defense fleet continued to grow. Dozens of new vessels joined the Armada each month, each more advanced than the last. Humanity had awakened to its place in the galaxy, no longer isolated explorers, but guardians against any who would threaten the right of peaceful species to exist. The distress call that had led the Pathfinder to that distant debris field had done more than save 49 Visari lives. It had revealed humanity's true potential, not just to survive among the stars, but to thrive there, bringing their unique blend of fierce determination and compassionate protection to a galaxy that desperately needed both. And across the vast reaches of space, word spread of the Deathworlders who had stood against the Draken and prevailed, the humans of Earth, whose response to a single SOS had changed the course of galactic history forever.